Well, happy Saturday, everyone. It is November, although I think it was November last time we were on together. Yeah, it's only a couple more weeks till Thanksgiving and then a couple more weeks till Christmas. So if you're already behind on getting your projects done, good luck because there's no way I'm going to be done by Christmas. And, I started in January. It is what it is, but, that's why we are here. Today, I woke up and I think I'm starting to get the hints of a sinus infection, which is not a good thing. It's something that normally I've gotten in the spring, not in the autumn. So I feel fine. I've been doing nasal rinses. Hopefully I don't have to go get some antibiotics, but we will see what I feel like tomorrow. But, that's for future Russ to worry about. Current Russ feels fine, except a little bit of nasal congestion. And because I have giant sinuses, I've been having a little bit of pressure back here on my teeth. But it is what it is. Anyway, we are trying to work on, I printed it out this time, the mazed pattern, which is a Villa Rosa design. And last week, if you recall, we sewed a whole bunch of 2.5 strips together into pairs because that's what the instructions say. And after we had them sewn in pairs, the instructions said to cut them into these pieces, which is 2 pieces of this size. And I can't give you the pattern sizes because otherwise that would be kind of bad. It's 2 pieces of this size and 1 piece of this size. So I have gone in and made all of my sets of pieces. And it is assembly time, which I'm trying to make sure I assemble as well as I can. Let's see. We've had a couple people hop into the chat. Ingrid says, "Hi, Russ." Hi, Ingrid. Candace in here says, "Long time no chat." Candace and I were texting a few minutes ago. She was an overachiever and vacuumed. And I'm like, I need to vacuum. Good morning, Cynthia. She says she can't wait until tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow is going to be a fun day. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. And Joydy says, "Hi, Russ, Ingrid, Candace, Cynthia." Wave emoji, wave emoji, wave emoji, wave emoji. So, yeah, this is a pattern that was picked up by my sister, and she wants it done for. I should ask her which one of her coworker friends is going to be for, but I should also probably not ask her who it's for, because if I said it was for, I'm going to say Donna, because Donna's not one of her coworkers. And if Donna decided to watch the channel, then Donna would know. Good morning, Charlotte. How are you? So, yeah, we'll see if I can get these blocks done. And the complication with these blocks is you have to do them just right to make them look right. There's enough movement that I don't think it'll be noticeable if I do any of these wrong. But I also feel like if I do any of these wrong, I will notice it. So I am looking at the pattern, and it looks like as long as I put the light on the unit that's already made, then that'll make it look right. Good morning, Jeannie. How are you doing? Sewing Camp View. That's the way I want to do this. So like I said, I've got all the piles cut up, and it would help if I put them back in order. And it looks like my first step, I want them to look like this. So I want the light pointing to the left, put the other piece on top of it with the light pointing down, and then I will line these up and sew it. Come on, line up. Charlotte says she hopes I feel better. I hope I feel better. Like, I don't feel bad. It's just when I blew my nose this morning, unexpected colors showed up. And I'm not accustomed to unexpected colors. So I just said, okay, I will just work more on rinsing and see what happens as I feel better. Joydy says she missed what I'm working on. Always, like, you just stopped paying attention, didn't you? The pattern is called Mazed. It's from Villa Rosa Design. And it's a very simple pattern. It's made with a jelly roll. And all you're doing is making a pseudo log cabin. So when I'm pressing these, I'm going to make sure that I am pressing towards the fewer seams, which is unfortunately going to be the lights. But I think that they're going to be fine. The next piece, got to grab my pattern, is going to go onto the right of it. And as long as I cut everything right, everything is going to be fine. So what Cynthia hinted at earlier when she said she's excited for tomorrow. Tomorrow is another edition of Sewing Shenanigans, which basically is, you know, what everybody has fun with. It is a free Zoom event that I host every now and then. I don't have any regular schedule on it. There's no calendar for it, just to say anything. So it just happens when I'm like, okay, I'm going to have a little bit of extra time on this weekend. And this weekend, I will have a little bit of extra time tomorrow. So there is a link in my description box below this video and on Wednesday's vlog. And anybody who's on my mailing list has gotten the link already as well. And if you have time, want to join at some point tomorrow, come join us. It's a lot of fun. It's not broadcast on YouTube. So if you're looking for me on YouTube tomorrow, don't. And if you're the person who ended up trying to join the Zoom today, I was told by an email that you started joining today. I'm very disappointed because you know I go live on Saturday. It's all good. Mistakes happen. I will not call you out by name. Okay. Nanette, the Farm Her Quilter, is here. Says good morning, all. Good morning, Nanette. Duvrock is here. Excuse me. Joydy's telling me to drink plenty of fluids. That's what I've been trying to do. Normally I drink pretty good with fluids, but the past couple days at work have been a little crazy. To the point that we are upset again because we were told no more layoffs, and they laid off an entire group of people. And I'm like, I don't understand how you are expecting to make April happen when you keep getting rid of people. And it's worse because it's more of our friends that they laid off. Which means I'm now down to like 4 people in the office that I like. And 2 of them are my teammates. So that is just kind of crazy, but you know, it is what it is. I can't control it. I still have a job, at least for now. So we will see. And this morning I had my HVAC people here. They were supposed to be here a week and a half ago, but we had a little bit of a cold spell, and people were calling them saying, "My heat's not working. Can you come out and fix it?" So they sent me a message and said, "Hey, can we reschedule you?" And I'm like, "Of course." Because, you know, people not having heat is a little bit more important than me, who probably had heat, and I did, just doing maintenance. So I was like, yeah, I'm flexible. So I had Dakota come out today, and he just did a quick peek at everything, and I'm like, everything looks fine. I knew everything looked fine. It was just making sure that the like all the registers set correctly and everything. And he goes, yeah, everything's reading right. Everything is pumping out the right amount of heat. So I think you're fine for this season. I'm like, great! Because he's the one who came in and finally installed whatever was broken at the end of my 40 nights and 40 days of no air conditioning a couple years ago. Because he remembered that. Which, it's warm in here, so I need to turn the fan on. Because, you know, he had to turn on the heat for a good 15 minutes, which meant that a lot of heat came in here. Ingrid says her nephew Danny says I'm so funny. Tell him his check's in the mail, because I'm really not. He'll say I'm not funny if I start telling jokes. And I think that's right. This is the block I'm making. And I have to make 20 of these. And because it came from a layer cake, every block is going to be similar but different. And because I want to try to chain piece some of these, I'm going to grab 2 at a time. I'll do 2 at a time. That'll be easier so I don't get them mixed up. And I will start 2 at a time. Jody says it's going to start getting colder starting tomorrow. Definitely Tuesday morning. Expect to be 26 degrees in the morning there. I knew it was going to get cooler. Today it's supposed to be in the mid 70s, which is fine. I was miserable early this week because it was 76 in my bedroom at bedtime. And I did not want to turn on my air because it's November. I should not have to turn on my air in November. So, yeah, I opened up all the windows. It didn't do enough to circulate the air through, but it kind of cooled it down a couple degrees. Okay, I said that that's the way that it needs to go. So, yeah, I'm just like, I'm not thrilled, but it is what it is. Today is supposed to be and it's rainy and very humid, so it's gonna take a bit to try to get any coolness through because of the humidity. But apparently tomorrow, from what I can tell, the high is going to be the first thing in the morning, and then it's just going to get cooler and cooler and cooler and cooler. So it's going to be a perfect day to be in here sewing with friends. So I'm like, if I can enjoy the day sewing, then it'll be perfect. I just realized I've got like 3 stripes in a row I'm working with. I promise all the fabric isn't stripes. It was just how I ended up pulling things off the jelly roll, and also the order that I just happened to press everything. So when I do chain piecing of blocks like this, I try not to get more than 2, because otherwise I will get confused. And when Russ gets confused, mistakes happen. But anybody who is sewing along with me, you are welcome to sew one at a time, because that way you're pretty much guaranteed not to make a mistake. And like I said, we are doing 20 blocks of this because we had 40 strips in our jelly roll strip, and 4 times 5 is 20. Yes, because that's the layout. And this quilt doesn't have any borders according to the pattern, but I may end up thinking about putting a border on. Why does this not feel right? Because that's not right. It goes on this side. See? So yeah, once I get the quilt top done, I'll send a picture to my sister and say, this is what it comes out to be. Do you want a border on this? Then she's going to have that horrible choice of, what color do I want for the border? And I will say, cutting the units out of the strip sets was fairly easy. As long as you do your decisions as to which ones to cut in out of which order. Everything comes out fine. I cut the big piece and one of the medium pieces out of one side, and then I cut the other medium piece and the two small pieces out of the other side, and it worked fine. Did not have that fold in there at all. Good morning, Landa. How are you today? These blocks are going together so quickly because there's only 5 pieces in each block. And like I said, there's not a lot of thinking that has to happen. Landa says she has the wooblies. Oh no, that doesn't sound good. Stay seated, stay hydrated. And if you need to call somebody, make sure they send out the hot pair. No. I hope you don't have to call for any assistance. Just take it easy. Another block. So no use of the rotary. Yes, no, you don't want any risks. No rotary cutters. Careful with even sewing needles and stuff. Okay, I'm gonna pull a set with these colors and these. So see, they're not all stripes. So again, laying out. And I'm just taking it slow. Let me pull this up and press it. Another completed block. So I'm up to 3. And I'm going to tell on myself. Was it last week or so? Sometime recently, somebody asked me, how do you get your blocks so perfect? Are you like da-da-da-da? I'm like, my blocks are far from perfect. I just try to hide them. And here's an example of me hiding. Because you see, those don't line up. There's some good bleed through. And those don't line up, but they're close enough. So I'm just like, it'll work. Fabric has a little bit of stretch. Good morning, Stephanie. How you doing today? She says, love it, Russ. Thank you, Stephanie. And all I'm going to do with the fact that my stuff doesn't line up exactly perfect is I'm just going to shift my seam just a hair to try to make it a little bit better. That's all I do. So my stuff isn't perfect. It's very far from perfect. But I'll just do minor adjustments. Sherry says her motto is close enough is good enough for me. That is very true. Everybody's allowed to work at whatever level of perfection they want. I will say I was kind of annoyed when I was watching one of the YouTube channels that I was on, that I saw, and the host basically threw out a block because it was off by like a 16th, maybe a 32nd of an inch. Like it was so close I couldn't see a problem. And they threw it out, and I'm like, why are you doing this for people who are trying to learn? If you're going to throw it out off camera. Good morning, Carl. How you doing? Carl is the latest person to have signed up for the mailing list for my Sewing Shenanigans links. But you don't have to be on my mailing list to be able to join. All the links are always in my video descriptions because, you know, it's a free event. I mean, I just paid for another year of Zoom. I got to use it. Lining. And like I said, things aren't exactly right with this, but they are close enough to hide. And now that it popped in my head, I don't know how many Wicked fans we have here in the audience, but on Thursday on NBC, they had a special called Wicked One Wonderful Night. And it's now replaying on Peacock, so for anybody who missed it, you can go watch it. But the reason why I'm talking about it is It basically was a concert of the Wicked Part 1 songs. But they did a lot of, per usual, humor, excitement, everything else. And when Ariana Grande came out to sing Popular, she had this little kid named, she nicknamed him Remy as her Elphaba. And it was so adorable. I'm a huge fan of Remy's now. It was so good. Ariana, excuse me, Ari's reactions and everything to him, and so perfect, so adorable. You need to at least go see that if you haven't seen the whole special. But I also recommend seeing the whole special, even though I haven't seen the whole special yet. And like I said, it was all because Remy was just so adorable with it. It was slightly annoying that they did a few camera cuts that they did, and not just camera cuts, they did things like I call the magic of television, because, you know, you can cut, do a change, and then start filming again, even though it's in front of a live audience. You can tell live audience, pretend like this didn't happen. So those kind of annoyed me, but that's what happens when you have, you know, film television versus live television. But it was still an awesome show. I still haven't yet to figure out when I'm going to get to go see Wicked. Oh, I'm sorry, Wicked for Good, because David is trying to say he's thinking about this or thinking about that. He's getting guilted into going to Phoenix for Thanksgiving, and I'm like, as soon as you figure out what you want, let me know. Because if I have to go buy tickets for myself, I will. Okay, before I do the reveal, let's pick up the next two piles. So I've got this X pattern in a green and white. And then this one is a I don't want to call it floral. I don't want to call it weeds. And it's not quite checks. It's not quite stripes. I need to sit in here and memorize the names of the fabric lines if I'm going to be working on them. It's just way too much work to memorize names. Like, some of the names, they're easy to memorize, but then others is like, really, you want me to try to remember that? Okay, let's see how these two blocks came out. Here's one of them. And the other. I'm trying to show them all in the same direction. That way people are like, did you do that one wrong? And while we are talking about exciting things, I saw an exciting article today. My favorite shake at Chick-fil-A is the peppermint chocolate chip. And it's coming back Monday. So that means Monday on my way home from work, I need to stop and say I need a peppermint chocolate chip milkshake because it is time. That one and the banana pudding milkshake are the two that I will go out of my way to go get, especially on like day one. They've had other shake, like the peach shake. I'm like, nope, I don't like peaches. The they had a couple other shakes this past year, and I'm like, yeah, that doesn't sound as good. But their peppermint chocolate chip, yes. Nanette says, nice blocks, thank you. Carl says, nice, Russ, thank you. I mean, I'm perfectly evil. Okay, next block goes this way. The hard part is going to be when I get all 20 of these blocks done, figuring out the layout. And then the big question is, do I sew the blocks together next week on the live? Or do I sew the blocks together on my own time and we work on something else next week? What do y'all think? What should I do? Do you want to see me attempt to do blocks together on a live? Or am I going to work on something else? Because I have plenty to work on. And if I did not do the blocks next week to get putting it together into a quilt, I could always do that tomorrow on my sewing shenanigans. Carl says something else, so he thinks this project is... No, he doesn't. We are quilters. We are constantly working on something else. I do have a couple other projects that are fairly easy to start from my sister's collection of stuff. I am now realizing well, besides the fact that Charlotte says she'll have to watch the replay next week. That's exciting. Doing something else, it's always much more fun. I had a strange dream last night. No idea why I dreamt this. But I dreamt that I was on a plane trip for some reason. And we will just say the airline had no enthusiasm for their jobs. And like in my dream, which again, strange, physics don't apply, we were barely flying above buildings and stuff. Like the wings almost hit a couple buildings during takeoff, and then we got stuck in traffic on the ground. Don't ask me why my dreams are like this. And then we decided to stop in Baltimore because the pilot was hungry. And I'm like, it was at that point I realized I was dreaming. Stephanie asked, did I dream we were cruising? Oh, I've now had 6 dreams that we were cruising again. So but I can only imagine I was heading to Massachusetts in this dream because of the stop in Baltimore, which that's where I normally stop when I head to Massachusetts and I have a layover. But why my plane decided to get stuck in ground traffic, as in, cars, I don't know. I mean, in ordinary circumstances, I'm like, when I get to my destination on a plane, I get to my destination on a plane. When I was heading to my cruise, that was frustrating because I had somewhere to be. If I'm going to my sister's, or when I would fly to Phoenix or whatever, it didn't matter to me if there was delays or all that other stuff, because I'm like, yeah, I'll get there when I get there. But in my dream, like the pilot just randomly deciding, oh, I want to stop in Baltimore because I'm hungry. Yeah. I also pulled out my map app on my phone to figure out where we are because I guess he didn't tell us where we were. I don't know. Again, my dreams, I don't want to understand why I dream the way I dream. So these 2 sets of blocks that I'm now going to make, and they'll probably end up being maybe the last ones that I do on the live. I love this print. This is one of my favorite prints from her collection. And it's with the crosshatches. And then more of this stripes, cross stripes, and this. I probably should have made Fran, while she was here, separate these out into the 2 piles. That would have been more fun for her. Okay, let's see what these came out as. I love the colors in this one. I mean, I love all the colors, but I think this one came out really nice with the green and blue contrast. And then this one came out really nice. Joydy says, beautiful blocks. I could only take, credit for putting them together. I didn't design it. But I think it's a very fun pattern. And I did put a link to Villa Rosa's website if anybody is interested in the pattern. It's in the description box below. It's $2, so it's not like it's a it'll break the bank. And you can order the digital version or the printed version. They're both $2, and I believe it still includes shipping. Although this block that I'm now trying to put together might become my favorite in a second. I have started looking into what I'm going to be doing for Vlogmas this year, because that starts in less than a month for anybody who's on YouTube and thinking about doing it. Because there was the year that I did the really bad dad jokes. And some people loved them. Some of them really loved them. I think the people who claimed that they loved them were lying because they were bad. No. Last year I did emoji Christmas songs, and I think that was a lot of fun. So I'm trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to do this year, and I think I have it in my head. I just got to get it put together, and I have, basically 3 weeks to get it put together for my little fun part of it. I am also going to be doing an Advent box, probably 2. One of them is a purchased Advent box, and one of them is going to be a custom Advent box. And that's the probably 2 one, because I've heard it's in progress, but I haven't heard everything. I commissioned my sister to make me an Advent box. So it's not going to be one that everybody can have because, it's a custom one. But I think that, getting a non-quilter's perspective as to what would be fun in an Advent box would be kind of fun. Because she is crafty. She makes some really awesome crafty stuff. And I did tell her, I was like, needles and thread and I even gave her specifics. I was like, these are good things just to include in general, because trying to come up with 25 days of gifts can be difficult. So I'm like, you know, here's the thread I use. You can use that as a day. Here's the needles I use. You can use that as a day, and things like that. But I also, when I was up there, I hinted. I was like, ooh, I like this. Ooh, I like this. Ooh, I like this. So we will see if she took some of my hints. And then next year, I might work on something different if that one works out well. Because I was talking to somebody else and they were like, why don't we do this? And I was like, well, I already asked for this one, so maybe next year. Which, again, it'll be an Advent box. And I think I like the idea of custom Advent boxes. I probably will do a purchased Advent box as well. Just because the purchased Advent boxes help some shops to say, you know, this is what we are giving for our Advent boxes if you're interested, maybe for next year. Yeah, this block is going to be my favorite now. But I think the little puzzles that I'm working on, they're not jokes again this year, but I think they're going to be puzzles again. I think everybody's going to enjoy them. So we have this block that came through. Might as well start. These are going together very quickly. So these are the colors I'm going to start, because I have to be able to pull the next block off. And this one, which I think is now my favorite because it's got the green stripes in it. Where are you? There's the end of this. And then this, that was almost bad. This one is going to be these colors. I almost pressed that one the wrong way, which really wouldn't have mattered, but Ingrid says custom advent boxes are great. She got a puzzle advent box for her nephews, so by the end of the advent, it will have 1,000-piece puzzles put together. I got to do one at her house and one at their house. That is pretty. So, what is it? You get, let's see, 1,000 divided by 25 would be what, 40 pieces? If I did that math correct, I'd be amazed. What is 1,000 divided by 25?
1,000 divided by 25 is 40.
I was right. Oh my goodness. The fact that I did that math that quickly, yeah. So you get 40 pieces a day in a advent box? That sounds pretty interesting. There is a puzzle company that has been advertising to me on Facebook, which I can't remember the name of, but the way that they advertise is their puzzles have a story, and time passes from when the picture on the box was taken to when you get the puzzle put together. So, like if there's people walking around in there, they're not going to be in the same positions in the puzzle as they were on the box. And it tells a story and stuff. So I was like, that would be kind of cool for my cousin. I think it's called Odd Pieces. I just haven't gotten around to finding a good, because my cousin loves puzzles. I just haven't found one that I thought that she would really like. So if it's 40 pieces a day, excuse me, are you getting 40 pieces in a section? Or are you going to get like 40 pieces of the edges in day one? And if it's an actual Advent company, let me know, because I think that would probably be fun to send to my cousin next year, because it's probably too late to get one this year. Because like I said, she loves puzzles. I have threatened to send her puzzles that can be solved 2 different ways. I have threatened to send her puzzles where every piece is exactly the same shape. And she has threatened me with bodily harm. But I think the idea of like an Advent puzzle like that, if there was an easy way to do like an Advent quilt like that, I think that would be pretty fun. Something I can't exactly put on my sister's list of ideas, because I can't have her cutting fabric. She would kill me if I said, you need to cut up this fabric for me so I can make it as an Advent quilt. Although, if there's any quilt shops out there, preferably that have like the AccuCut system, because that would make it easier to say, hey, here's an advent box for a quilt. I think that would be pretty fun. Ingrid says a advent quilt pattern would be fun. I think it would be. I think it would be horrendous on the idea of a quilt shop, unless they are already experts at doing the pre-cutting stuff. So that's why I said the whole idea of AccuQuilt. Because I also wouldn't want to say, okay, here's a couple pieces of fabric, do this. Although, for anybody who may write patterns, you can get the whole kit delivered as one big thing, and then put the basically have all your fabric purchased on day 1. Day 2 is probably cutting. Day 3 is, and going forward, we'll be starting putting it together. So that might be an idea. I'm gonna have to see what I can think about for maybe something. So to go over the blocks that I have made, I made this block, this block, this was number 3. I made quite a few. 4, 5, 6. Okay, I'm impressing myself. 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Show it all the same way. 10 and 11. So I have 11 done, which means I have 9 left to do, which, excuse me, that's these right here. So I have homework, and then I get to decide if I'm going to sew these together tomorrow during sewing shenanigans, or if I'm going to sew them next week live with y'all. I guess it depends on how quickly I can get them laid out on my design bed today, and how quickly I can decide what I want to work on next week. I'm thinking about this pattern next week because it's a bunch of 6.5 inch squares. So this might be it. Everybody's going to be left in anticipation as to what I'm going to do, but we will find out over the next couple days. As a reminder, Sewing Shenanigans is tomorrow. It's a free Zoom. Anybody can join. There is no fee or anything associated with it. All that we ask is that, you have your camera on and everything. And be kind, because, that's the big thing that we need to have everybody do. It starts at 8:30 a.m. Eastern, and it goes throughout the day. It's come and goes as you please, so you don't have to get up at 8:30 a.m. You don't have to stay until the end. It's just, if you just want to show up for your lunchtime, you can do that. It's perfectly fine. We are not judging. So, yeah, hope to see you guys tomorrow. And, give everybody on YouTube lots of love today. I will be over on my friend Stephanie, Quilting with Stephanie Stitches. She's in the chat on her channel this afternoon. We are going to be talking about the cruise, which seems like years ago at this point because it was so much fun. I want to go again, and we're going to talk about all the fun stuff that we did on the cruise. So come join us then.